Today, we're attempting to accomplish the first ever 20-0 season in Madden 25. To do this, we will start with a blank roster and use this wheel of NFL teams to upgrade every position, starting with wide receiver number 1. This video is presented by the EA Creator Network on an early access build of Madden 25, so things are subject to change. After giving the wheel a spin, it's going to land on the Chicago Bears, and this is really good because they have 3 solid receivers to choose from, like Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, or rookie Rome Odunze. But since Keenan Allen is the only superstar X Factor out of the 3 receivers, we are going to add him to our team. But here's where things get interesting. If I'm able to correctly guess the number of Super Bowls the team we select had in their franchise history, I can opt to skip that team and spin the wheel of NFL teams once again. But I can only do this 3 times. Moving on to wide receiver number 2, the next NFL team that the wheel lands on is the New Orleans Saints, and their best receiver is Chris Olave. We could attempt to guess how many Super Bowls the Saints have won in their franchise, but I'm pretty happy with bringing in Chris Olave to play wide receiver number 2 behind Keenan Allen. We now need to give the wheel another spin, and there's a bonus slice on the wheel which lets us pick any team. And it doesn't look like it'll be the bonus, but this isn't bad at all, landing on the Vikings. Absolute no-brainer at all, bringing in Justin Jefferson to our team, who is arguably the best receiver in the NFL. Once we finish building this team, we will jump into the season and have the opportunity to steal 1 player from our opponent's team during the regular season, which should help us complete our goal of being the first team in Madden 25 history to go 20-0. Next up, we have to bring in 2 running backs. We're going to give the wheel a spin, and it lands on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And they have Travis Etienne as their best running back on their roster, and I'm happy with this as he fits nicely on our offense. And right into the next spin for our second running back, it lands on the Jets. I know they have Breece Hall on their roster, and it looks like they also have rookie Braylon Allen. But Breece will be a nice fit as halfback number 2 at an 84 overall. Moving on to the tight end. This is a really important position, and it lands on the Atlanta Falcons. It was so close to landing on the Broncos, and that would have been horrible. But lucky for us, we can add Kyle Pitts to our offense. Let's see who's going to join him at tight end, and it's going to be the Buccaneers. And the best tight end on their roster is Cade Otton at a 75 overall. I'm going to try and use a skip and say the Bucs have won 2 Super Bowls, I believe. Yes, I was right. You get a respin, and it ends up landing on the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, that's not bad at all, bringing in David Njoku to be the starting tight end with Pitts backing him up. Instead of picking each position on the O-line, we're going to bring in the entire team's offensive line unit, including the fullback. So let's hope we don't get stuck with the Giants or the Cardinals. Let's give the wheel a spin, and it's the Cowboys. Honestly, it could have been much worse. So let's go ahead and add them to our roster. The last position on offense is going to be the most important. I might have to try to use a skip if it lands on the Raiders and Gardner Minshew. And after giving the wheel a spin, it lands on the Bengals. So close to landing on bonus, which would have meant Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, but Joe Burrow is still a top 3 quarterback in the NFL at 93 overall, and he will be QB1. Let's move on to the defense, starting with the strong safety. Need a big start here, and it's the Lions. I actually can't remember who they have as strong safety, but after looking at their roster, it's second-year player Brian Branch, with a solid 85 rated, and he will be the first defensive player on our roster. Moving on to the free safety, let's see which team we have to go with this time, and it's the Steelers. They have Minkah Fitzpatrick, and he's a 93 overall, and just like that, he will be the starting free safety on our team. Before we get to the quarterbacks on the team, let's move on to the linebacker. Starting with the outside linebacker position, the wheel lands on the Patriots, which means we get to add Matthew Judon as left outside linebacker and Jelani Tavai. As for a middle linebacker duo, the wheel lands on the Commanders. And I know that they just added Bobby Wagner this offseason, so I went ahead and added them to our team. Next up is the cornerbacks, and after giving the wheel a spin, it lands on the Ravens. And we get to add Marlon Humphrey as the first cornerback on the team. Continuing on, the wheel lands on the Seahawks. This is another solid spin as we can go with Tariq Woolen with 97 speed or Devin Witherspoon. I think we should take the speed and go with Tariq Woolen to be CB2. And the last corner we can add to our team has to be from the Texans. And we can go with Derek Stingley Jr., but I'm pretty sure the Texans have never won a Super Bowl in franchise history. Yes. And after spinning the wheel, it ends up landing on the Packers. And Jair Alexander is their best corner, and he will join our defense as CB1. And just like the offensive line, we are going to bring in a defensive line unit from one team, and that's going to be bonus. We can go with any of the remaining teams on the wheel, and I narrowed the choices down to the Niners or the Raiders. And after looking at both their rosters, I decided to use the Raiders defensive line, adding Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, Tyree Wilson, and Byron Young. The last part of the team we have to go with is special teams, and the wheel lands on the Eagles, bringing in Jake Elliott and Brandon Mann as our kicker and punter. And just like that, our roster is now complete, and our offense is looking very scary, while our defense has plenty of elite talent. And so far, we have an 89 overall team, but we still have plenty of upgrades we can make by winning games throughout the season. Heading into the first game of the season against the New England Patriots, and if we win, we can steal one of their players. After simming the entire first half, we have a 3-point lead, and Joe Burrow kept his foot on the gas, getting his team down the field early in the third quarter. Travis Etienne was then able to punch it in for a touchdown to extend the lead to 10. After simming the rest of the game, we went on to easily defeat the Patriots and now have a chance to steal one of their players from their roster. A couple options in Jabril Peppers, Jonathan Jones, or Mike Onwenu, but since we have Terrence Steele at right tackle, I think it's best to give the O-line an upgrade and add Mike Onwenu. Jumping right into the second game of the season against the 0-1 Chiefs. As you can see, both teams have incredible top 3 players, so this one should be a great game. And this game started off pretty good for us as Joe Burrow was making some nice reads to get his team down the field, and in the red zone, Burrow has to escape from the pocket, but still manages to throw the ball to the end zone where David Njoku makes the grab for the first touchdown of the game. Mahomes and the Chiefs answer right back with this easy touchdown to Travis Kelce. After fast forwarding all the way to the fourth quarter, we have a 10-point lead and can really put this game away with a score here, but Joe Burrow takes a huge sack thanks to Drew Tranquil. The Burrow-Jefferson connection was on display as they were able to get a big completion for a first down. A few plays later, Burrow hands off to Travis Etienne, who punches it in for a touchdown. And that was enough as we went on to get the big victory over the Chiefs, allowing us to steal one of their players. Obviously, Mahomes would have been the choice if we didn't have Burrow, but I want to add Chris Jones to really upgrade our defensive line. And with that, our defense is now up to a 93 overall. Went up against the 1-1 Commanders team, and their offense really had trouble moving the ball with rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels taking 3 sacks in the first quarter. The Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson connection is getting stronger as the weeks go on, and on third down, Burrow throws a quick pass to David Njoku to extend the lead to 14. The second half was much more of the same, and we went on to easily defeat the Commanders with Joe Burrow throwing for 235 yards with 3 touchdowns. We can continue to upgrade our defense with Jonathan Allen, or we can go with superstar receiver Terry McLaurin to give Joe Burrow another weapon. Let's do that, adding Terry McLaurin to join an already stacked wide receiver room. This team is on a roll, and our next opponent should be a cakewalk as we head to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Haven't won a single game yet. As we jump ahead to the fourth quarter, we have a 10-point lead, and it looks like we will be extending that lead here. But Joe Burrow ends up throwing an interception. Bryce Young and the Panthers offense worked their way down the field, and he was able to connect with Xavier Legette for an 11-yard touchdown, cutting the lead to just 3. One first down puts this game away, and Etienne picks up a solid game before breaking 1 tackle to pick up the first down, and we barely hang on to defeat the Panthers by just 3 points. Definitely not what I expected here, but lucky for us, we can bring in Derek Brown to play on our defensive line. We now take on one of our toughest tests yet, with Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens coming to town. And right before the first quarter ended, Keenan Allen made an incredible catch with 2 defenders draped all over him. This then led to a fourth down at the 2-yard line. Travis Etienne took the handoff and easily scores the first touchdown of the game. Even though the Ravens could have scored a touchdown in the first half, they managed to keep the game close with a couple Justin Tucker field goals. Late in the game, we have a 9-point lead, and Burrow is trying to extend that with this nice pass to Scary Terry over the middle for a nice pickup. On the very next play, Burrow throws it into a tight window, and Keenan Allen hangs onto it for the touchdown. After simming the rest of the game, we went on to defeat the Ravens, and now have a tough choice on who to steal from their roster. We could go with Lamar Jackson, Roquan Smith, Derrick Henry, Mark Andrews, or even Kyle Hamilton. After looking at our roster, I decided to bring in Roquan Smith to help at middle linebacker. With that new addition to the team, our defense is up to a 97 overall. After that really big win over the Ravens, we went into MetLife Stadium, easily taking care of the Giants, adding Andrew Thomas to our offensive line. Our team carried that momentum right into the next game against our division rivals as we quickly jumped out to a 7-0 lead with this great pass over the middle to Justin Jefferson. With a 35-14 lead in the fourth quarter, Deshaun Watson is trying to lead his team to a comeback, and they were able to score a touchdown to cut the lead to 14. However, the Browns could not stop our offense, and we went on to defeat them by a big score. Myles Garrett is by far their best player, and I elected to bring him in to really make our defense that much better. We then hosted the Eagles, and this game went back and forth. But in the fourth quarter, we failed by just 3 points. Travis Etienne was doing all he could to keep this drive going, and on the 1-yard line, he was able to punch it in for 6 to retake the lead with just 6 minutes to go in the game. Our defense then came up with a big stop thanks to Brian Branch, and our offense now has a chance to put this game out of reach. And Joe Burrow did just that by throwing this absolute laser of a pass to Keenan Allen for a 29-yard gain. A couple plays later, Burrow throws it underneath to Etienne, tosses the defender aside and scores a touchdown. And that was enough to defeat a really good Eagles team, and with that win, I elected to bring over Saquon Barkley to share reps with Travis Etienne. After that big win over the Eagles, we went on to beat the Raiders by a huge score, followed by taking down the Ravens for the second time, and then absolutely crushed the Chargers. And for those 3 wins, I brought in Devontae Adams as wide receiver number 2, Kyle Hamilton as strong safety 1, and Joey Bosa as our new right outside linebacker. Heading into our bye week, this team is really starting to look unstoppable, and we are at the top of the NFL with 11 wins. We have a few tough games to close out the season though. The Week 13 game against the Steelers was a bit back and forth as Russell Wilson ties the game up with a short passing touchdown to George Pickens. After skipping ahead to the fourth quarter, we somehow found ourselves trailing by 3 points. But Joe Burrow threw a beautiful pass to Justin Jefferson, putting us in the red zone. On 3rd and goal, Joe Burrow keeps it for himself and rushes into the end zone for the touchdown. The Steelers can play spoiler here if they can get into the end zone, and on 2nd down, Russ has so much time in the pocket, throws to the end zone, but it's intercepted. We went on to defeat the Steelers by just 4 points. No-brainer here, stealing away their best player in TJ Watt to somehow make our defense that much better. We can't get too ahead of ourselves as we take on a Cowboys team who are one of the best teams in Madden 25. And our offense cannot be stopped early on in this game, with Saquon Barkley scoring first, and then Justin Jefferson retook the lead shortly after. Our offense continued to play lights out, scoring again just before halftime, but the Cowboys made a comeback late in the game. On 3rd and goal, Burrow was able to fit a tough pass into the end zone, and Kyle Pitts was able to come down with it to retake the lead. The Cowboys answered back almost immediately, with Dak throwing a nice pass over the middle to Jake Ferguson for the touchdown. Burrow and our offense easily moved their way down the field, and with under 1 minute to go, Saquon Barkley punches in for a touchdown, and we barely snuck out a win against a really good Cowboys team. With that win, I elected to add Trayvon Diggs to our cornerback room. The last 4 games of the season were pretty uneventful, defeating the Titans, Browns, Broncos, and the Steelers by big margins, bringing in L'Jarius Sneed, Nick Chubb, Patrick Surtain, and Pat Freiermuth to the team. And we have officially finished the regular season with a 17-0 record. Just 3 more games and we will accomplish the perfect 20-0 season. Quickly having a look at the stats from the regular season, Burrow finished with almost 6,000 passing yards and 56 touchdowns, while Justin Jefferson had over 2,000 receiving yards. Taking on the 9-8 Tennessee Titans in the divisional round led by D-Hop, Jeffrey Simmons, and Tony Pollard. And it was the Titans who got on the board first with a quick touchdown pass. Lucky for us, Saquon Barkley answers right back to tie this game. After simming the rest of the first half, we completely blew the game wide open and have a 28-7 lead. Our offense continued right where we left off as we extended the lead with a field goal. The Titans had no answer and we went on to win 52-7. And Burrow ended up throwing for 5 touchdowns. Since that was a playoff win, we can no longer steal a player from our opponent's team. We now take on the 12-5 Chiefs, led by Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game. Mahomes was able to put the pressure on early as he finds a wide-open Travis Kelce in the end zone for the first score of the game. And it seemed like we were going to tie this one up, but Joe Burrow ended up throwing an interception, and Tracy Walker went the rest of the way for a touchdown, and we now find ourselves down 14. After jumping ahead to the second half, we still trailed by 7 points. And early in the second half, Burrow was doing all he could, making some nice passes, but ends up throwing another interception in the red zone. He is really not playing like he did all season long. Luckily, our defense came up big, and we were finally able to get into the end zone thanks to this nice catch by Travis Etienne. After both teams exchanged touchdowns, our defense got a huge stop with under 2 minutes to go. A few plays later, we ended up taking the lead thanks to the 78-yard touchdown by David Njoku. And that was enough to get the win, and we are now moving on to the Super Bowl. We are just 1 win away from breaking NFL history, and we take on the Vikings, who are without Jefferson, in the Super Bowl. On the opening drive, Joe Burrow made some really nice passes, moving the offense down the field. On 3rd down, Burrow throws a great pass to Njoku. And in the red zone, he fakes the handoff and connects with Kyle Pitts for the touchdown. Vikings were unable to score on their opening possession, and Burrow immediately connects with Njoku, second touchdown of the game. After simming to the 4th quarter, the game is all tied up. With only 5 minutes to go, we are trying to take the lead back late in the game. Unfortunately, it was failed attempt after failed attempt. We had to settle for 3. This game comes down to our defense. Ace with a 3rd and 5, and rookie quarterback JJ McCarthy get a first. Step back, rolls out, and it gets knocked out. For some reason, they elect to punt the ball, and we can now end this game. After picking up multiple first downs, the Vikings use their first timeout. Burrow then fails to complete a pass in the end zone, and we settle for another 3 to take a 6-point lead. Vikings have 2 timeouts left and can still win this thing. First down, McCarthy steps back, and it almost gets intercepted. Second down, he is able to connect with his receiver for the first. With only 1 minute to go, he steps back in the pocket and throws it, but it's intercepted by Kyle Hamilton. And just like that, we are the Super Bowl champions and the first team in Madden 25 history to go 20-0. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click on this one right over here. YouTube thinks you'll like it, and so do I.